Okay, I'm back. We got about 100 of these to open, so let's go for it. Unleashed is where I spend a lot of my time. I opened up all my Cold Hunt packs during Cold Hunt because, well, I needed the cards. But Unleashed, I managed to get all the copies of the cards I wanted. So we're just gonna open them all now. This is more or less most of my collection that I would have had during the Cold Hunt, the Unleashed season. So let's begin, shall we? Rock for it. This one's halfway decent. It gives you advantage, and it gives you extra units which you can do things with. You can block with them. They give you extra power if they survive, right? You need to build something around this, but and there's lots of cards that affect totemites. Decent card, not terrible. Definitely draft worthy. Toxicology. This one's really good. Shadow likes to deal damage almost as much as red, but sometimes they have weird effects. Usually they involve lifesteal, but this one, it's not fast, but you can deal 2 damage and you can choose to give it deadly, which means it can kill anything. The mistake people always make with me is that they never discard the card to make it deadly. You always want the guarantee. If you need it gone, it needs to be gone, right? Just don't make the same mistake. They have 0 mana, it's fine, but you never know. Display of Passion. I like this card. It's got 3 pips, so it's kind of hard to deal with. But you get so many options, right? You can just straight up deal damage to the opponent. You can use it to play a katana on it's like a weapon on any unit, and you get to draw a card, which is what I usually use it for. Or you can deal 8 damage to any enemy with endurance or lifesteal. It's nuts. There are very few cards that have more than 8 life. So, and the ones with lifesteal you definitely don't want swinging. So, pretty good card. Just be aware of its 3 pip cost. It's a lot. Crackling Hustler. As a rare, I like it. For a 1 cost, you can make taunt means that it has to be blocked. So you can stick something on it, or you can just use it for the war cry, but it's only the turn that you get it, so it's really only good when you plop it down. So if you don't want the war cry, make sure that you don't play it right away. Oh, Carnivorous Terror. All right, Unleash. So basically, how Unleash used to work is, Unleash, you play the card, you get an additional copy in your hand. You used to be able to reduce its cost, right? But now you can't. But that doesn't mean that you can't add. So there are cards that add cost to the enemy hand. Unleash was pretty popular during this format, obviously. So there are lots of cards that add cost to the card, and that you can still add stuff to the card, but you can't reduce its cost. So you can make the first one 0, but every additional card that is drawn will be the real cost. So just keep that in mind. This one's not bad, especially if you play a dinosaur deck, because the more you play, the bigger your dinos get. Pretty good card. Okay, this should work for real this time. All right. Cat Burglar. This was really popular during certain times where relics were really good, but there are better ways to get rid of enemy relics or to steal them. So, it's deadly, 3 for 2. I would draft this card for sure, but I wouldn't. I would say it's seen better days. Forge Deed. Steal an enemy relic at the end of turn, sacrifice it. I think this is too costly for what it does, but I think if it costs any less, it would be 2 BS. So it's the idea that you get to use it for a little while and then you get rid of it. I wouldn't bother with this. This is a niche card. Maybe run on your sideboard. Parliament Elder, amazing card. I already have 4 of these. It got nerfed. It used to be 2/4, now it's 2/3. But it basically generates mana for you. You plop it down. It's got pretty big stats. Even for what it is, it's got pretty big stats. But it plays a sigil for you. So, and not depleted. You just get it. So you can easily play stuff for 5 on your 4th turn, right? There are lots of different ways you can mess with this. Parliament Elder is really good for what it does. It's flying. You can make multiple copies of it. It's really good in ramp. I cannot believe it is as good as it is. Very good card. Very good card. Break and enter. Deal 5 damage to an enemy. And enemy means you can do it on the player. The top unit of your deck gets +5. I think there's better ways to deal damage to the enemy. I mean, 5 is a lot, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Okay. This rare is always a reprint, by the way. At least that's what it's supposed to be, I think. We talked about this one already. Decent card, but it depends. Rocado Arcanist, very good card. It's got quick draw, it's got war cry, it's got double damage when you use frenzy, which is when the enemy takes any damage. Hits the enemy player? That's So okay, so there's this thing called Nightfall where you take I mean both of you get it. It becomes night, you take 1 damage and you draw a card. I'm pretty sure frenzy triggers off of Nightfall. So that's not really the enemy player, like it can trigger off of me, my Nightfall, and I get hit, so I'm not sure that that's necessarily accurate. When the opponent takes damage that isn't from an attacking unit, that includes like a relic weapon, which is basically the same way it works in Hearthstone. The frenzy effect activates. So this is a very good card. You know, run it 4 if you're gonna do anything in red. The quick draw is always nice, especially when you have double damage. Warcry for each of your relics. This is a bad card. Like its stats are trash, and you need relics in order for it to be good. So, even its Entomb effect is not great. 2 armor at the end of the day really isn't gonna save you that much, right? There are better ways to get 2 armor. And scouting, I mean, that can push forward a turn in terms of your draw, but it's a bad card. No, wouldn't recommend. Cannot recommend. Play a non-hero unit from. See, like we were talking about playing a unit from your void. This is like non-hero. Can I find one here? There's like, okay, where my mouse is, sometimes it'll say hero. Usually it's reserved for name people. Sometimes it'll just say hero in their name. But basically, you'd be able to play this card, but not any heroes. I would say that generally this is still pretty good. For any deck that wants to run stuff from the graveyard. Parliament Elder, we talked about this one, great card. You know, I'm getting duplicates, so on the one hand, I'm happy. On the other, it would be really nice to have some. There are some rares I don't have in this set, so let's hope we get them. Mystical Shackles, great card. It silences the unit, so when it dies. When it dies, its effect basically doesn't trigger. It's really good. Would recommend it. The Entomb sort of allows it to keep its low cost, but the soldier they get is nothing. It's nothing. If you're playing this on a big guy, trading an 8/8 or like a 6/6 deadly for a 3/2 nothing, I would totally, absolutely play this card. Enemy units get -1/-1. Your units +1/+1. For 6, dog shit card. Dog shit. Would not play. Absolutely not. Lake Terror. This card just got buffed. At the start of your turn, exhaust Lake Terror. So, it used to be every turn exhaust Lake Terror. But this makes it a little more consistent. This basically allows it to block once when you play it. Would I run it? No, probably not, because as nice as Frenzy is, there is always a cost to dealing damage to your opponent, usually. So, unless you're doing some weird like Nightfall thing, and I doubt you are, where it's always night, I don't think that this is good. It got buffed, so maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think being able to block with it once is good enough to say like, yes, I would run this. Bullet Shaper. Sorry about that, motorcycle outside. Wonderful people. In my state, you don't have to use a helmet. My freedom! All right. Gain. Okay, so the 3/3/3 is fine. It's Rocano, which is red-green. And like it gives you influence, so anything in any surge deck, this would be really good. But I don't like. I'm not sure about this other effect. I would say this card is fine, but I'm sure you could get better cards for cheaper or just better. Displayable, great card. It's another one of those. It's just like that other one with 3 things. They printed one for every color, I think. The yellow one's not so great in my humble opinion, but the blue, the red, and the purple one are fantastic. The green one's also not amazing. Kill an enemy hero, so you know it's just gone. The enemy player sacrifices a relic or site, which basically means that they, unlike destruction, which things can be saved from, sacrifice means that like it avoids those. And if they only have one, they have to choose that one. Or draw one card from the top 4 cards of your deck, bottom the rest. So this card can be used for card draw. It can be used for destruction of heroes, which, I mean, the big ones are the ones you want to kill. And it can be used to get rid of nasty relics or sites, which is nice. So this is a very good card. You don't want to necessarily run it in every deck that has purple in it because of the 3 pip condition, because you may not be able to play it on turn 3. But it's a very good card. Very good card. All right, what do we get? Uncrossable Ravine. Deal 1 damage to each unit, site, and player. Play a random 1-cost unit and give it a +1 for each damage dealt this way. This could be good. It's a cost 5. There are spells. There are decks where basically your goal is to cast as many spells as possible. I can see how this might be good, but a 1-cost unit, it would be one thing if it played a bunch of 1-cost units and gave them +1/+1, but I don't. This is a big maybe, leaning towards no. All right, mass production. I'm happy to get legendaries. Draw 7 cards, and the end of your next turn, discard your hand. If mass production is in your hand, reduce its cost by 1. Okay, I can see how this might be useful, right? You hold on to it early on, and you have an entire deck built around shooting things, right? By the time you're able to play it, if you've dealt like 3 or 4 damage, this becomes a 4-cost card. And if you've been able to do more than that, it basically allows you to draw a whole new hand. At 7, I would say that it's not worth playing late, but having this card stuck in your hand early could be a huge benefit to you. I would say this is a solid maybe. This is like a yes. This could totally work. Oh, keep it coming. +3 power. The start of your next turn, gain the power you didn't spend next turn. I've seen people use this at 6. It's kind of nuts, but you can roll over all of the power you get into your next one, which means that if you want to unleash something, you totally can. A specific deck has to be built around this, but I would say this is a good card. Good card. Gift of Zulta. When you play another non-weapon relic, transform Gift of Zulta into a copy of that relic and gain Aegis. No, I would rather just have another copy of the relic. Why would I ever want to play this? This is dust. No. Life-changing meal. Transform each of your units 3 or less into a random unit that costs 1 more. I've seen this played. It worked out once, and then it completely destroyed the guy's strategy when he in a different scenario. So if you like gambling, I would say this card is great. Otherwise, at 6, I would say no. You also need cards on the field for this to work, and if you don't have those, I would say it's not great. I would say don't bother. Grumbo, Total Legend. I really want to like this card, but at 1/1, it just dies. No matter how you scrape it, somebody always dinks it for 1, or they force it to block, or it's just. This is part of the cornerstone of one of my decks, because basically as long as I can keep it on the field for 2 turns, it's solid. But Grumbo is just so hard to properly utilize. I would say it's a good card, but it's just not strong enough. Parliament Elder, we already talked about that one. Skycrag Synthesis. Inscribe, well there you go. Negate an enemy spell, create and draw a unit with the spell's cost. 3 for negate is kind of high, but since it has inscribe, I would say it would totally be worth running as many of these as you would like. That's sort of the difference between new and old cards. The new cards just do more. Oh, Lake Terror. Well, don't need any more of those. Collaboration. Draw a card for each faction among your units. There's a card that involves having lots of different factions. This is fine. At most, at least you get 2 cards, and at most you get 5. I would say, like, there is a niche use for it. I would say it is a good card. Talked about this one already. This is going by really fast. Give me something new. Zoltan Conclave, probably the best land they've ever printed so far. Take 2 damage again, an influence of your choice. I don't think I need to explain why this is good, but basically it's whatever you want it to be. It doesn't give you 2 influence like something like this, right? But it's what you need when you need it, and 2 damage is nothing. The only life point that matters is the last one. Break and enter. We talked about this one. We talked about this one. Getting lots of repeats. Life-changing mute. We talked about this one too. Okay. Ooh, okay. There were a lot of decks that revolved around this one, and then I think it got nerfed. Which is fine because this is degenerate. Basically, you play it, and then you just keep getting units every turn that become more and more difficult to deal with. But there's a lot of relic hate, so there's so much, in fact, that people more or less have stopped playing the deck that revolves around this. And good, because it's degenerate. Good card, degenerate card. Hustler, we talked about him. I don't think I had 4 of him yet, so we're good. Getting some cards. Grim Reminder, Inscribe. So I mean, already it's you're halfway there. Starting return, deal 1 damage to the creature player and gain 1. Okay, so not the best thing, but this could easily make War of Attritions swing in your favor more often. And it is Inscribed, so I mean, you can just play it as a sigil if you can't play it. Not a terrible card, not an amazing card. It's so-so. I would draft it. That's an easy draft pick for sure, if it's in your color. Town Bully. When the Town Bully hits the enemy player, it gets +1. Frenzy. Play a Jotun if you don't have one. Okay, yeah, no, this card's pretty good. Basically, by the time most people are able to play it, they're able to consistently deal damage to play a 6/6. So this quickly becomes a problem when they start ramming their 6/6 Jotun at you and keep making new ones. I mean, it's easy to remove, but it's a big deal when it goes down. So yeah, I would say good card. Holotip Spray. Oh, this one's fun. Inscribe, so you're already there. It's high costing, but basically, Relic Spam was kind of a big deal because there's this dinosaur deck. I suppose nobody plays it anymore. There was a dinosaur deck where you played a bunch of relics and it just shat out units and it was awful. But this one kills all the kills all the relics and deals 6 damage. Pretty good. Pretty good. It also kills relic weapons, which is nice. It kills the relic weapon first. So the way relic weapons work is typically it has an armor value, it has to have at least 1, and it has a damage value. It can swing for the damage value, and then it breaks when the armor value disappears. A lot of decks involve adding armor to so like you can just have armor regularly, and then when you play a weapon, the armor gets added to the weapon. If you destroy the weapon, like with an effect that doesn't deal all of its damage, you destroy the armor too. The armor just disappears. So if someone has, I've done this, if someone has 16 armor on their weapon and you play this card, the weapon dies, takes all the armor with it, and then you deal the damage. It's very fun. It costs 6 though, and 3 pips, so likely you're gonna do mono red only. I don't run that deck anymore because it's too slow, but it was very fun when there was just nothing but relics. Very fun time. Ooh, Unleash. Deal 2 damage to each unit without flying. Well, I mean, it's got Unleash on it, so I can certainly see this being appealing. But only without flying. So if you do have anything with flying, then, if the opponent has anything with flying, you shed a lot. That's the way it goes. We did this one already. Good card. Did this one already. Good card. All right, very nice. All right, we'll do the rare first. Zhangli the Misfit. Each unit in your deck with a unique name gets +3. I mean, it has Overwhelm on it. There is a deck that involves having only unique stuff in it, but I suppose you could have 3 of him in there, but whatever. I wouldn't say this card. And give for the Arcane. Oh, okay. Well, you know, maybe I should play some of these decks now that I have this card. Good card. Terrible card. Oh, this is the blue one. Okay. This is Relicate. I love this one. You can turn any unit or non-cursed relic into a dinky dinosaur. It's hard to get rid of that dinosaur for most decks that would use this the best, but it only deals 1 damage, so you know, whatever. Deal 5 damage to each unit played this turn. Another fantastic card that just wipes your opponent's board. And draw a card again in Aegis. The draw is nice, but I would say that gaining the Aegis alone is sometimes worth playing this card. So you know, once again, high influence cost, but you know, run it how you see fit. You know, any deck that can utilize this is very good. Hello? Uh-oh. What's going on? Right. We're doing this again? Come on, don't do this to me. What's happening? Okay, well, it appears to have opened the pack, but we didn't get to see it. I had to restart the client. So let's start again. Oh, Conclave talked about this one. Great card. This year, that one's okay. Good for draft. We talked about this one. Good card. You know, there are more rares than this in the set, guys. You can give me some of those. Good news is that like all these rares are basically going to add to my Shiftstone cost, so that's always good. Oh, okay. I got to reprint Legendary. Let's see now. Null Blade. There's a couple decks that use this one. Pretty good card. Weapons are just super interesting, but every time a good weapon build gets put out, it gets nerfed. Except for Stormhalt plating, that shit needs a nerf. Rockfort, talked about that one. Alright, we got another reprint. Let's see what we get. Steward of the Past. This used to be really good for control decks, because it gets rid of everything in the opponent's void. But and it's deadly. It's basically a really well-costed card, but it's sort of, once you play it, it kind of doesn't do anything anymore. So, I mean, it's still good. There are probably better options. Lake Thera. Okay, don't need to talk about that one. Okay, what do we get? Oh, I got a premium legendary. Well, premiums. If you dust them, they turn into a full copy of what it is in terms of dust. So I can get any legendary I want now if I dust that. I might keep it because it's premium, but we'll see. All right. Yep. Talked about this one. I have 4 copies of most rares. Okay. Yep. Have that one too. Okay, this is the green one. You know, this one's, I think, not that amazing. Kill an enemy unit without battle skills. Almost everything has a battle skill on it these days. And if they don't, then, well, I mean, I guess this is fine, but there are better ways to, there's better removal out there. Give one of your units double damage. This is what I was talking about, how it's really easy to stick double damage on things if you really want to. And play a Justice Sigil from your deck. I would say that if you're at the point where you can play this, using it for card ramp is like not, like, it's just not that good. Like, all individually, I would say all of these skills are fine, but compared to the other ones, it just doesn't cut it. It's just not as good as it could be. But I mean, I'm sure there's a niche use for this. It's one of the best ways to get double damage on your units, and it's technically removal. in every other situation. So, you know, you decide. I would say, given its influence cost, I would say that it is not necessarily amazing by any means. It doesn't put stats on the card, and usually that's what is more beneficial because it keeps your cards alive. Life-changing meal, we did this one already. Alright, what do we get? Lake Thera. Oh, yeah. If I didn't have 4 of him, I have 4 of him now. Well, it's a great card. I have 4 of those already. Let's see. Pound Bully. Yep, talking about him. Good card. I just want to say, Tinker Unionist, very good card. The 2/2 taunt is already good. The Warcry makes it even better, and Unleash, if you have a relic, just seals the deal. Even without Unleash, this is a very good card. Intruder Alarm, I remember this being bad. Inscribed, so I mean you got that, but this turn your cards can't be stolen, and the enemy can't force you to discard or sacrifice cards. Okay, so there's a degenerate in the dinosaur expansion that steals your card, and it's really annoying because he just gets to do it, and I suppose this is counterplay for that, but I would never specifically run this with the idea that somebody would play that card and try and steal it. This is a bad card, I would say. It has Inscribed, so I mean, you know, it has more niche appeal than it should, but I wouldn't say this is an amazing card by any means. What do we get? Striding Skyline. I have seen 0 people play this card. You can sacrifice a relic to basically shit out another one. It's got Unleash, right? But rather than it be like, if it didn't have the summon condition, if I could put this on the field and then do this later, this would be an amazing card. But at a cost of 7, it's just not that good, and you can't reduce it, and you can't reduce its cost really. There's sort of no reason to build that into your deck anymore, since you can't reduce cards you draw. So you can't reduce Unleashed cards you draw anymore. So it's just not a good card. It's a 7 for 7/7, so if you can get it out, great. And it's got Overwhelm, so if you swing with it, you might win. But I would say that unless you're really building something around the idea of this, it's probably not gonna do that. And they removed the ability to make cheap relics every turn when they nerfed a specific card that used to make them. So I would not recommend. Not even for draft. Okay, we got another double. Very nice. Bullet Shaper. We talked about Bullet Shaper. Parliament Elder. We talked about him. Good card. Alright. Slave Wheel. Talked about that. Okay, what do we get? Oh, okay. Oh, I talked about this before. This guy's a hero, right? He's got this little hero thing. Basically, that doesn't necessarily mean that the card is inherently better. It just means that there are certain mechanics that interact with this card because it is a hero. Or in this case, or in other cases, the cards interact with this because it is not a hero, right? So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out. It's a terrible card, by the way. All right, Cackling Hustler, good. I probably have 4 of him now. Great. Resonance Wave. Inscribe. Okay. Silence an enemy relic or give one of you units plus this turn. Okay. There's a cheaper costing card that you can splash into any deck that also allows you to silence units. So I would say that this is not amazing. It's got Inscribe, and there is a card that you can use to like it says this turn, but there's a card that says any plus stats you get to keep. So maybe this card could be good in that case, but at 4 you could do better, I think. The choice is nice, but +6/+6 is very far away from silence. I don't know what this card is supposed to do for its cost. And because that other card is colorless, you can get it in any deck you want. Growth Spurt, Unleash. All right, that sounds pretty good. Give one of your units a random battle skill. It's got Unleash on it, so it has potential. There are like 20-something battle skills, something like that. So getting something like Destiny or Decay or Deadly on one of your units is pretty good, but I just don't know. Like, I can't decide at what point in the game this would be the most useful, because if you're at the point where you can cast this is a cost for 2, right? So if you have 8 mana, you can cast it 4 times. I don't really know at what point in the game you would need that, right? Like, I would rather have a card that does something else besides potentially give me Reckless or Berserk, which doesn't actually improve anything, right? I wouldn't necessarily call this a bad card, but I don't know if I would call it a good card either. I'm sure I'm wrong, and there's some BS where if you cast a bunch of spells, something happens. So it's a cheap spell. Go for it. This is the card I was talking about. Kill an enemy relic or silence an enemy unit. Like, this costs 3. If you want to, and this directly interacts with your opponent without having to without any influence cost. Can go in any deck, and it can get rid of relics too. So I kind of don't see a point for Resonance Wave. +6/+6 seems really nice, but it's just that turn. We talked about collaboration. Maybe. Solid maybe. All right. Reprint. Here we go. Ooh, Stronghold Visage. The computer likes this card. It's a deck that involves gaining 1 life and 1 armor. But unless you have a real reason for it, I wouldn't say running it. 5 is very expensive for what this does. But it is nice if you can get it out. I would say it is not a good card. Rockfort. We talked about Rockfort. Rockfort is okay. Zoltan Conclave. Yep, talked about that one. Good card. Exavor. Very good card. Aggressively costed. 3 for 4/4. Overwhelm. That's it. That's all you need. Can never be stolen. So that dickbag that steals your cards can't steal this one. And if the enemy player makes you discard the card, you get to play it, which is cool. So even the 3/4/4 cost 3/4/4 stats Overwhelm would be amazing card, but even better, can't be stolen, and if for some reason it's discarded, it just goes on the field. Very great card. Good card. And as we talked about this one, decent card. Parliament Elder. Man, after you nerf Parliament Elder, you sure are handing me a lot. Toxicology. Good, I think I have a full set of Toxicology now. I tend to save my Shift Stone for when I want. There's a deck website you can look up. When I want to play something fun, that's typically what I do. So, yeah. That's what I'd recommend you doing. Save up until you can get a cool deck that you want to play, as opposed to something that's good. Or you can get a good deck to grind something down. Grinding the Gauntlet, which is the computer player stuff, is pretty fun. Except that they cheat, so it might be more frustrating than it's worth, depending on who you are. Void Bound. So basically, this card can't be taken out. Play a power card from your Void, or put a non-power card from your Void on top of your deck. Okay. This makes sense. This is a good card. There's lots of interactions you can do with this, because there's self-mill, right? Excuse me, motorcycle. There's self-mill, where you all of your good cards end up in your deck, in your graveyard anyway. You just plop this right on top, right? Seems like a great idea. There's other stuff that happens when it hits the graveyard, right? So, putting it back on top and then milling it out might be good. This is a good card. It's very specific, but I would say it is a good card. It's cheap, it does what it's supposed to do, and it opens up opportunities for lots of different plays. Mystical Shackles, we talked about this. Pretty good card. All right, what do we get? Another Resonance Wave. This one's not special looking, but whatever. By the way, this card, really good. Getting to be able to draw whatever cards you want. Pretty good, not gonna lie. Go through your deck real fast with that if you're careful. Okay. Parliament Elder. Talked about that one. Good card. Poacher's Menagerie. All right, we talked about this one too. I think I have 3 of these now. Great. I can play the degenerate decks now. I can be the degenerate. Lake Terror. Yep, terrible card. Terrible card. Zoltan Conclave. I had to craft all my Zoltan Conclaves. Where were all these cards when I was crafting them? Rivet, Take Your Wish, terrible card. Absolutely terrible. Tired of looking at this card. Don't like him. Found Bully, good card. I think I have 4 of these now. What I really want is a Carnosaur, but we're not gonna get those. Calderon Cradle for every 5 spells you play. There's a computer deck that evolves around this. I imagine that anything with Unleash and this combined is pretty good. So, I mean, this is probably what you want. Totemite Munitions. I always draft this card and it always ends up winning me stuff, but whenever I play in the real format, it loses. So this is probably a draft only card. You can pay 2 and sacrifice unit to deal 2 damage. This pairs up really well with that thing that spawns you a unit every turn. So basically, if you don't need the extra power, you can just chuck the enemy at chuck your unit at the enemy for 2 damage. This triggers Frenzy, of course. So if you have those, it's really good. I would say this card is good, but it depends. I've yet to successfully create a tiny dinky set where you know, they don't just die instantly, and I'm actually able to launch them at the opponent. All right, let's see. We talked about this one, good card. I have 4 of her already though. Rumbo, Total Legend. I like this card. It's probably a good card. It never works out for me when I play it. Minotaur Brawl. I think I had this one. I didn't comment on it. +2/+2 is not great, but Taunt is pretty alright. This is a card that could potentially win you the game if you're requiring all of their units to block. It could destroy their field in an instant, and if you come out on top, you end up in the better spot. So this could win you the game, but it's kind of high costed, and I'd rather win it a different way. I could be wrong though. I've been wrong before. I've been wrong often with this game. Give Chase. Okay, there was a weird deck involving this one. I think that they nerfed this. I don't remember how. Play 2 units from the top 5 cards of your deck with cost 3 or less. They get +2/+2 in charge this turn. End of your turn, put them in your hand. Yeah, I can. This is a game winner. This basically draws you cards and puts units on the field. You can sacrifice them. Like, there's a lot. Like, even if you only play this card, a lot happens when you do it. Very good card. And green-red is a very good combo as well if you're looking to just deal damage. Alright. Life-changing meal. I think I have 4 of those now. Ooh, Dune Hill Clan. Oh, this card is amazing. Alright. 4 for 5/5. You know, already good. Endurance Unleash. You have 8 mana, you get 2 of these. You have 12 mana, you get 3 of these. When you could reduce their cost, I had a deck involved reducing the cost of units, and you can reduce it. You can't reduce it to 0, but you can reduce it to 1. And you know, it's very fun having 7 of these out in 1 turn, as you can imagine. Even with the nerfs, a 4 for 5/5 endurance is very good. The secret is don't be afraid to play this card as a one-off. Because chances are you have more in your deck, and it does so much. Endurance means you can swing with it and block with it. So there's no reason not to play it if it's advantageous. You'll probably draw another one, or it will protect you long enough to do something else. Very, very good card. Clash of Wills. Each player draws 3 cards, then deal 1 damage to the enemy player for each card in their hand. This is you're giving your opponent cards kind of deal. So think about where you're going to be at turn 6, right? Unless your opponent has been drawing extra cards every turn, and it's possible, it's unlikely that this is going to deal more than like 5 or 6 damage. And maybe that could win the game for you. But it's more likely that it's going to deal 3 or 4 damage, or maybe 5, right? And think about all the other cards that just deal 5 damage to the opponent and don't let them draw cards. This seems like a mistake to me. I'm sure there are use cases for it, but I would never play this. Never. Maybe in draft. Get things moving, you know? Like Will's talked about that one, good card. Rockford talked about that one, good card. Service talked about that one, good card. Inscribed. We talked about that one. Good card. Ooh, Nego Urban Hunter. This one's pretty good because you can stick, you can't block, but you're encouraged to attack with it anyway. You can stick stats on it, and it keeps the stats, which means that whenever you dink your enemy for 1, you get this card. You get this card back, and you can play it again. And at 2 cost, you can almost always play it. Pretty good card. Toxicology. Yep, talked about that one. Good card. Play of Will, talking about that one, good card. Ooh, all right, so let's see what the reprint rare is. Factory quota. Players can't gain life. I would say that this alone is pretty fine, but this basically puts a clock on the game, hopefully in your favor. At the end of each player's turn, they didn't play a unit, play 2 damage. So like this is a good card, but you need to build around it. The fact that the shutting off life gain is pretty good in a lot of cases. Ooh, okay. Pelican Consultant Elder, when Pelican attacks, invoke. Inspire, units draw get +1/+3. So this sounds really good, but he's got 2, and there's a ton of removal, like, that kills things at 2 or less, especially in this pack. So, not as good as you think it is. But if you can get this out, it's not bad. Giving your units Aegis alone would be worth it if you can get it out. I don't know if I would run it, though. Rock 4. Talked about that one. Good card. And the last one is Resonance Wave. Not a great card. All right. So I need to take a quick break. So before we do that, before we get on to our next one, so I will be right back, and then we'll continue with the last bit. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Had to handle something, but here we go. The new stuff. I don't know anything about this, so let's just let's see what we get. Okay. Oh, I don't know any of this, so we're gonna go through as many cards as I can remember. Hunt, we talked about this, but you discard certain cards, a certain amount of cards, depending on the number, off the enemy deck, and then if it's like a monster or something, you get +1/+1 on the card that did the hunting. I would say that this is not an amazing card. Basically, all these cards with Hunt have mill on them. So if you have a mill deck, this would be pretty good. I have one, so we're going to see if there's anything I can maybe change up in there. Probably not, but we'll see. Hunt 2. I would say that that's not great. Maybe good for draft, but I would say that that's not great. Pay 8 to give your units flying this turn. That's certainly interesting. 3 for 2/3. I would say no. Not a great card. Would not draft. Play 2 soldiers with Aegis. No. Draw a card of your choice from the top 4 cards of your deck and create and draw a copy of it, bottom the rest. Okay, well, there's certainly going to be some cards I'm going to swap out in some other decks. That's certainly interesting. Holy crap. 2 cards? 2 cards? Like if I draw 2 mana, if I draw mana, I get 2 mana. That's amazing. Okay, Thundershot. 3 damage. If you have 3 or more units, deal 6 damage instead. Interesting. This is removal, so I would draft this, but I don't know if I'd put this in a deck, right? Enemy player discards 3 cards of their choice from their hand. Well, that's some hate right there. And Nightfall. Well, maybe. Probably not, but maybe. Coastal Curator can't attack unless you have played a spell this turn. Terrible card. That's awful. Icequake. Each unit in the enemy player. No. For 7? No. You can there's like a card for 4 or for 3 that deals 3 damage. To everything. I think I'll skip. Winter's Grasp. Nightfall. Curse unit is stunned at night. I mean, this gives you Nightfall. Like, I might draft this if I had a lot of stuff that triggers at night, but meh. Exhaust an enemy unit. Make one of your units hunt 1. This could help you swing. So I would say this is probably good. I would draft this, yeah. Especially if you have lethal. Enemy player sacrifices a relic. If they can't, they discard a card of their choice from their hands. I wouldn't run this. And what's our rare? Ombre Silix. Depleted unless you have both. Oh, did they make new Silixes? This is new. Oh boy, I'm excited now. Because they didn't have these in every combination, but they might now. That's awesome. That or it's a reprint, and I'm very upset because I don't have those cards. Right. Dark Deed. Steal a cursed unit while its total is 6 or less. There's already, I mean, maybe for the equivalent of modern or standard or whatever, but there's already a thing that just steals it and readies it for free, like for 3 as opposed to 4. So I don't know about that. Cautious Mantis, Hunt 2. I would say that's not great. Flying and Reckless at night. Summon Nightfall. Interesting. It's 4/2 for 3. And it's got Flying and Reckless, and it gives you Night. This might be usable. Night lets you draw a card. It lets your opponent draw a card too, but like, you know, it moves the game forward. I would say that's good. Draw 3 cards and then discard a card. I feel like we have this card already, but it costs 4. What? All right. This is a market card. It either you get it from your market or you if you can draw any card you want without having to swap, but then it puts it on top of your deck if you don't use it. So it's more of an interesting way of getting your market card. One way or another, you're getting it either then or later. So, but it also stops you from drawing anything else. So I hope that's what you wanted. Drawing a unit and power from the top 5 cards of your deck, bottom the rest. This is interesting. And as opposed to or. Oh, I might have to make some changes to one of my decks. I guess we're gonna see. One of your units becomes 5/5. We talked about this one before, but this one's interesting. This one's interesting. There's one for one. There's a green spell for 1 that gives you a 3/3. But turning anything into 5/5 seems like a really good idea. It's a fast spell too. When you draw a card, Bookmaster gets +2 this turn. There's almost no, it doesn't have Overwhelm, so there's almost no situation where I'm like, okay, well first I'm going to play this down and then I'm going to like draw a bunch of cards next turn and swing. Like, even if I were to draw 3 cards and get +6, it's a 7/1, so anything can block it and kill it. So Summon Nightfall Moondial. I feel like this is a reprint. Once per turn, you may pay 5 to draw a card. 5? That's interesting. This would be fine in draft, I think. It gives you Nightfall, so I can't go wrong. This is a reprint. This one's pretty good because it's basically removal, but it only works if there's an enemy on the field. Flying Summon Hunt 1. I feel like this would probably be your best bet if you were drafting, right? This is this would give you what you're looking for. Even for a 1/1 flying, that's pretty good, but like it has a chance to become a 2/2. Give one of your other units +4/+4 this turn. This is interesting. This is a game winner right here, I think. This helps you win the game. This is probably a good card. That could have easily been a spell, but instead it's a unit, so it's not fast, but man, if you need to swing, you can swing. All right. Repurpose wares. Give one of your units lifesteal and overwhelm. Draw a unit from your... And this is ridiculous. This does 4 things. All right. Corrosive Hopper. When you attack with more units, deal 2 damage to the enemy player. So this can't attack. And it's not really implied that you should. But this is a very easy way to trigger Frenzy, I guess, if at the cost of 5. I'm sure there's a use for this. I'm not convinced. +1 for each unit in your void. This could be good. Especially, like this would be one of those things where you summon a bunch of Grenadins and this just gets really big. You could have a bunch of these. I imagine this could be pretty good. Flying, deal damage to an enemy equals the number of spells in your void. I mean, it's got flying on it, so like I might draft this, but 6 in red. If you're at 6 in red and you haven't won yet, or you haven't almost won, it's probably over. Lifesteal. Sacrifice a unit to deal 3 damage to an enemy. I would say this is not great. Any time where you have to have something on the field is already like an additional mana cost, and you have to consider whether or not it's worth losing to also play this card. It's a -2 to deal damage to something. Yeah, we talked about this one. That one's bad. I think this might be a reprint. I'm not sure. Horrifying Hell. Spellcraft 3, play Scare. Swap units, stats. Maybe I would say this is not an amazing card. For one, I would draft it if I had to. This is a reprint. This is pretty good for mill decks because it puts a lot of cards in the graveyard. It basically puts you like 1/3 of the way there. 6, 12. Yeah, it gives you almost 1/3 of the cards you need for most mill decks, which is around 20 cards. So, Canyon Lurker, this is not a great card. Star Mole, this one's interesting. Oh, and the rare. Oh, look, it's this one. Great. You know, getting mana is probably the most expensive thing to get. Once you get mana, good mana stuff, it never goes away, and it's good in any deck. So, let's see. Rift Crystal. Gain an influence of your choice. This is a relic, okay. When you play a non-power card of that faction, sacrifice Rift Crystal to draw a card. Interesting. I don't know if I would... Surge is not a thing in this, so I don't know if I would really do this, but I mean, the card draw is nice, but it's so far out. I don't know if I do that. I think there's another relic that costs for 2 that lets you plunder, and I think I'd rather have that than this, but I guess we'll see. Then your remaining power to hunt that many times? Oh, that's pretty nuts. For a 1 cost? I imagine we're gonna see some BS with this. Okay, Ignite, deal 3 damage to a unit. So Torch is a 1, and it's deal 3 damage to anything. But I guess this one is fast, so that's something. Oh, wait. Oh. Interesting. Because this puts it, there's one for 2 that's also fast, but you can deal it damage to whatever you want. This might be better. I guess we'll see. We talked about that one. Flying in Aegis. You know, for 1, that's not bad. There's a regular, this is annoying. There's a regular, just old dinky soldier 1/1 Aegis, and that's it. It doesn't have flying. This is straight up an upgrade. I don't, like, this is draftable. Yeah. Yeah. That wasn't good. We talked about that one. This is a bad card. The computer likes to play it because it gives them advantage for whatever they're doing, but it's a bad card. Rumbling Contraption. Overwhelm. Exhaust. Rumbling Contraption. Absolutely terrible card. Dog shit. Would not run. We talked about this one. Camp Menace. It's a pig? I thought that looked like a dragon. I guess it's a pig. Charge, Nightfall. It costs 6, so it's a bit higher than I would have liked it. But, I mean, it gives you Nightfall, and you can swing with it right away. So, draftable, sure, that's a bomb or whatever. Diligent Hive Tender. I guess there are bees and stuff here. Your insects have +1/+1. Oh, we're going to do Weevil Bug Guide deck. It's got to be it. Your insects have +1, gain 2. I mean, I suppose it's fine. All right, last one. Here we go. I'm not so sure about this. The +2 means that, like, anything that involves life gain is pretty good, but guess we'll see. Guess we'll see. Okay. Wary. Oh no, we talked about this one. I feel like this is a game winner right here. I feel something from this. Mounted Archer. Hunt. When you hunt, gain that much armor. Oh, okay. So, I mean, you could build... I guess this must be like a tiny... Oh, no, the rats are big. In this one, all the beasts are huge. So that's not a tiny person. That's a real person. So, you plop this down, and all the hunting you do gives you armor. That could be interesting if there's any Minotaurs that hunt. Probably not, but I guess we'll see. Flying Valor. I would draft this because it has flying for 2/2. Valor. So basically, when you attack, when you attack and it's blocked, it gets +1/+1 for each unit that blocks it. So it can't be blocked by anything that is lower that is equal to it, right? So if someone else has a 2/2, this becomes a 3/3 if it tries to block that. And the cycle just repeats itself infinitely until they get a number that is bigger than all the ++++1s I'm given. So this could potentially destroy lots of other creatures. Let's see. Valor. Another thing with Valor and Hunt 2, and then it's like pay a stupid amount. I'm noticing a trend here. All the beetles are like, plus, you know, hunts, okay. And then, you know, pay a stupid amount to get a benefit that's probably not worth it by the time you can pay 7. So I'm gonna say right now all the beetles are probably trash. I don't know, I haven't seen the blue beetle yet. So I guess we'll see. This one was not great. This one was, I'm not sure about. We talked about this one. Infiltrate, kill an enemy unit. I mean, you actually need to hit the enemy player with this. That's what infiltrate does. When you hit the enemy player with that unit, it does something. But I mean, it's still a 3 for 3/2, so not the worst thing for purple. Talked about this one. Daring Leap. Give one of your units flying this turn. It hunts to, okay, that's certainly interesting. So you can put hunt on other things, basically. Power card discarded. Interesting. Give a unit +3/+1 this turn. If it has an Aegis, it gets +5/+5 instead. As a fast spell, +3/+1 is really good. So I would say that that's worth playing regardless. This is a card you definitely want in for drafting. But if it has Aegis, so if it's a green card, it gets +5/+5. That's pretty good. I like this. All right, and the rare. What do we get? Lucky Break. Kill a blocked or blocking unit. All right. A blocked or blocking unit. So if it blocked something, or if it... Oh, okay. So if you declare a block, okay, if you're getting attacked and you declare a block, I guess that's considered block, and you can kill that unit. Or alternatively, if someone is attacking, if you were attacking and something else is blocking, you can kill that too. So, all right, well, that certainly is interesting. I have to see what all the cards are before I really know what they're doing. But this was a lot of fun. The new season's out. Now is arguably the best time to get in here. So I would say if you like Magic the Gathering but don't quite like the direction it's going, or perhaps some of the cards are annoying, or a few of the mechanics you wish could be just a little different, Eternal is pretty good. I would recommend it. It's free. You get a lot of cards just for joining up. I guess I'll put my referral link in the description. I don't really care too much about that. If you do someone's referral link and you win like 5 games, you get to level 5. You get like a deck with a bunch of cards in it, which is super cool. You can draft. I have some draft tickets, but drafting is 5,000 gold. So if all you want to do is draft, if you're really good at drafting, you can draft for free. Not only that, but the rewards, if you win, you get 7,000 gold. So you actually continue to make gold, and you get legendary cards, which you can dust to make other decks that you want. So, I mean, I'm not super good at drafting. I'm more of a, I think constructed is the right word. I'm more of a constructed guy, right? I have draft tickets, so I don't have to pay for anything. But, you know, if you like drafting is really easy to do. Basically, you also get dailies or whatever. Each silver chest is worth 250 gold, and every gold chest is worth 500 gold, and then sometimes you have a chance to get a diamond chest, which gives you almost 2,000 gold. So within like a week, you'll be able to draft at least once if you grind out the gauntlet or you play ranked or casual. There's lots of other stuff too. There's campaigns you can buy. I would say that if you really want to be competitive and want to do more than just draft, that you need to play, and you need these because these give you cards, right? But you don't really need them at most, because there's if we do ranked and then we go to expedition. Expedition is the standard. Oh, none of my cards are good. Oh no! Well, that sucks. Well, no biggie. Throne is the whatever you want cards. All the cards are legal, right? But in expedition, you really only need the last couple sets and the last what's it called? The last campaigns. You got like campaigns, which are like stuff you can play through, and then expansions, which you can just buy, right? You can buy them all with gold. It will take you about a month to get enough, assuming that you're not drafting like crazy, like a madman, and you're winning all the time. It will take you at least a month of playing all of your, doing all your dailies to get one campaign. If you're gonna do that, I recommend getting the latest campaign, so that would be this one at this point in time, right? Can I not see the cards? I guess they really don't like it. Here, you get, here, hold on, I know how to do this. My collection. I have a lot of cards, I've been playing a long time, don't worry about it. Okay, enter the Arcanum, right? Accept. So you get like all of these cards. These are all cards you just get, and some of them are like really good. The Creation Project, this thing has been nuts, right? And you just get it. You get 4 copies, whatever. Direwood Pack, also a very good card, has been dominating certain sections of the meta, right? So even without all the cards at your disposal, you can get a lot of cards right away by getting campaigns. I have spent money, but I bought. I don't even know if they sell it anymore. Probably not. Cards and campaigns expansions? No, I guess they don't sell anymore. There's you can buy like a starter pack for like $10, and it gives you a certain amount of cards. It gives you a certain amount of crystals, which I would recommend to use on campaigns, and like a draft ticket, right? So you get a bunch of cards. But the nice thing about if you make any purchase above $10, you get card packs every new pack that comes out, right? So, I mean, I did this a long time ago, so it's been paying dividends for a while, but like you get benefits for buying in at least once, which might not be the worst idea, right? You get a lot of materials to play around with and make at least one deck that you want. So, I would say give it a try. It's free. You can do a lot worse for free. I would say that especially compared to Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering Arenas model, this game is very fair. Just expect to lose with people who paid for their cards. I mean, that's in everything, right? But like give it a couple months, you'll have more Shiftstone. Oh, here, let's do this. This is all satisfying. This is from all the card packs we open, right? 1 legendary duplicate, right? Man, look at all that. But hello? All right, I guess it did. It just didn't play the right. But you know. The average meta deck is around 30,000, with the most expensive being around 60,000. So obviously you're not going to have as much Shiftstone as me, right? But you know, you play the game, you get the cards. Hey, you know, it's fun. Once you have around 30,000, you basically get to pick whatever deck you want to play, assuming that you don't already have some of the cards. And the more cards you have, the less you got to pay overall. So I would say give it a shot if you thought this looked interesting. I'm not going to play a game or whatever. This game's kind of niche. There's like maybe 80 people watching on Twitch at any given time, distributed amongst all the different people. But yeah, no, I had fun. I hope you enjoyed this, especially if you have no idea what this is. And you have a great day. Take care. See you next time.